There are 8 children that are deceased. I can't be strong for you. I think about the mother and what this family has lost. I think about this community and what this community has lost. And I don't have the words to give you, and I'm sorry.
Now to some heartbreaking news. Our nation saw its deadliest mass shooting in years when a Louisiana man shot and killed 8 children this morning. Tonight we're learning more about that gunman, Shamar Elkins, who was the father of 7 of those 8 slain children.
So I woke up one morning, going through my phone like I normally do, and that was how I came across this news. And I was not prepared for what I was reading. 8 children. 8. Most of them shot while they were still asleep, in their own home, by someone who was supposed to love them. I have covered so many cases. I have sat with so many dark stories, but this one stopped me completely. This one is different. This one is heavy. Today we are talking about the Shreveport mass shooting of April 19th, 2026. What authorities are calling the deadliest mass shooting in the United States since January 2024. The worst act of domestic violence this city has ever seen, according to its own mayor. And at the center of it all is a man named Shamar Elkins. Stay with me, because this story needs to be told. Welcome to Real Crime Desk. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.
I'm never going to get to throw the football with him again. I'm never going to get to hear him say, "Dad, can I get this bag of chips?" I don't know how to act because I've lost 8 parts of me. I'm never going to hear my nieces say, "Gunkle, can I get a nana? Gunkle, you going to work? Gunkle, are you okay?" I'm never going to hear that again.
Shamar Elkins was 31 years old, a UPS worker, a former Louisiana Army National Guardsman. From the outside, he looked like a regular man living a regular life in Shreveport's Cedar Grove neighborhood. He was married to a woman named Shaneiqua Pugh. Together they had 4 children. He also had 3 more children with his ex-wife Christina Snow, who lived just a block away. 7 biological children total. And on that Sunday morning, he killed every single one of them. The family home on West 79th Street was full. Shaneiqua's sister Keosha also lived there with her husband Troy Brown and their kids. It was a full, loud, living household. The kind of home where children were always playing, always running around, right up until the moment everything changed. And those children had names. They deserved to be called by their names. Jayla, age 3, Shayla, age 5, Kayla, age 6, Layla, age 7, Markaydon, age 10, Sariahh, age 11, Khedarrion, age 6, and Braylon, age 5. 7 were Elkins's own biological children. The 8th, Markaydon, was his nephew, the son of Troy Brown and Keosha, 10 years old, all of them innocent, all of them gone, and one of those children, one, was found dead on the roof, shot while trying to escape.
Shreveport police identifying him as Shamar Elkins, the alleged gunman who shot and killed 8 kids. At least 7 of them were his own flesh and blood. The coroner released their names, a total of 7 siblings and a cousin ranging in age from 3 to 11, Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markaydon, Sariahh, Khedarrion, and Braylon.
Were they crawling out of windows to get onto a roof?
Yes, so actually this house right here that you see behind us, there's a window right above the garage. They actually climbed out of that window, we believe, and unfortunately one of the children was actually located deceased on the roof. So we are working to determine, we do believe that he shot the child while the child was on the roof trying to get away.
The 2 women Elkins shot that morning were Shaneiqua, his own wife, and Christina Snow, the mother of his 3 other children. Christina was shot multiple times, including in the face. Both women survived. But the nightmare they woke up to is something no survivor should ever have to carry. And then there were the ones who made it out of that house alive. Keosha Pugh, Shaneiqua's sister, escaped by jumping off the roof alongside her 12-year-old daughter. Keosha fractured her pelvis on the way down. Her daughter came down with only scratches. And it was Keosha, broken, in pain, terrified, who called 911 from the backyard and told dispatchers that he had shot everyone inside. I cannot imagine the strength it took to make that call. April 19th, 2026, a Sunday morning. While most of Shreveport was still asleep, Shamar Elkins made a decision that would destroy an entire family forever. The attack actually began on Harrison Street, where Elkins shot his wife Shaneiqua multiple times, including in the face. She was left for dead, but he was not done. He went back home. He returned to the house on West 79th Street, where his children were sleeping, and he opened fire. Most of those children were shot in the head. Most were shot as they slept. Just think about that for a second. These were babies, asleep in their own home. And he did this. The day before, Saturday afternoon, a neighbor named Freddie Montgomery had seen Elkins sitting on the porch, watching the children play outside in the yard. Freddie said the two men even waved at each other. Children playing. A calm wave between neighbors. And hours later, this same man walked back into that house and killed those same children.
The kids played in the yard every evening.
Fred Montgomery lives directly across the street. He said there were no signs the shooter would do something like this.
Just yesterday evening, he was sitting on the porch, and I waved at him. He waved back. The children were in the yard playing, and I just come in the house. And then this morning, we woke up to all of this.
Troy Brown, Elkins' brother-in-law, had left for his night shift around 9 p.m. that Saturday evening. He said Elkins seemed completely calm. They even joked together as Troy moved his car so Elkins could pull out of the driveway. Just a normal Saturday night. Troy went to work, and he came home to this. He later told reporters, and I want you to hear this, he said, "If I wouldn't have been at work, he was going to kill everybody in the house, and that includes me." After the attack, Elkins fled on foot, caught on a neighbor's security camera running from the scene. He then carjacked a vehicle at gunpoint and sped away. Police pursued him all the way into neighboring Bossier Parish, where gunfire was exchanged, and Elkins was shot and killed. Investigators are still working to determine the exact circumstances of his death. He never made it to Monday.
About 5:55 a.m. on Sunday morning, Shreveport police received the first call regarding a disturbance at a resident in the 300 block of West 79th Street. The caller stated that they were on top of a house. The suspect was inside and that a male had been shot. 3 minutes later at 5:58, dispatch received an additional call indicating the suspect was a relative of the caller. A minute later, 5:59 a.m., dispatch was advised that approximately 9 individuals resided at the location. The caller further stated that the suspect, identified as Shamar Elkins, had shot everyone inside the home. At 6 o'clock a.m., 1 minute later, the caller advised that she and her children had fled from the roof and were now in the backyard. 6:01 a.m., officers arrived on the scene. 6:03, officers made contact with the caller at the residence. At 6:05 approximately, officers requested the Shreveport Fire Department to stage at a nearby location close to Linwood. 6:07 a.m., a second call was received regarding a shooting in the 500 block of Harrison Street. The caller stated that her boyfriend had shot her, taken her 3 children, and fled the scene. 6:08 a.m., the victim identified the suspect as Shamar Elkins. At 6:10, dispatch linked the Harrison Street shooting with the shooting on West 79th Street and that they all were related. At 6:15, officers received information that the suspect had carjacked a red Kia Sportage at West 79th, closest to Linwood. At 6:17 a.m., our traffic units out on random patrol encountered or observed that particular vehicle traveling southbound on Interstate 49. The officers advised at 6:18 that they were crossing the Red River Bridge into Bossier City. At 6:20, officers received information that the children taken from the Harrison Street residence may be inside of the fleeing vehicle. 6:23 a.m., officers advised that they were exiting near Swan Lake area. 6:25 a.m. approximately, officers located the injured victims from the Harrison Street shooting. 6:29 a.m., officers made contact with the suspect through an exchange of gunfire. At 6:30 a.m., officers confirmed contact with the suspect in the 400 block of Brompton Lane. 6:40 a.m., officers advised that the suspect vehicle was empty and no children were located inside. 6:43 a.m., officers cleared the residence of West 79th Street where multiple deceased victims were located. 7:03 a.m., Shamar Elkins was pronounced deceased at the scene on Brompton Lane. 7:14 a.m., the Shreveport Police Department contacted the Louisiana State Police Investigative Division, and they began their deployment to the Bossier City address to begin to investigate the officer-involved shooting.
Now, the question that haunts every case like this. Why? His wife Shaneiqua had filed for divorce, citing infidelity, and the very next morning, Monday, April 20th, 2026, they were both due in court to sign the separation papers. That was it, one court date. And according to the people who knew him best, that was the breaking point. His brother-in-law, Troy Brown, said Elkins had been telling him, "Bro, I don't want to lose my wife." Everything, Troy said, had felt like it was falling apart for Elkins, and Crystal Brown Page, a cousin of Troy's, put it plainly. She said the divorce triggered something in him. She also added, there were no previous signs. The police chief was direct. Chief Wayne Smith said at a press conference that all evidence indicated this erupted as a domestic dispute. He also added something chilling. He said the chances were good that this was not the first time. But here is what the reporting shows, and this is important. The divorce was not the only thing happening with Shamar Elkins. This collapse had been building for months. In January 2026, just 3 months before the massacre, Elkins checked himself into the Overton Brooks VA Medical Center here in Shreveport for nearly 2 weeks of psychiatric treatment. He was suffering from depression and suicidal thoughts. Then, in February 2026, according to his own family, he attempted suicide. On Easter Sunday, the weekend of the shooting, he called his mother and stepfather. He told them Shaneiqua had filed for divorce. He told them he was drowning in dark thoughts. His stepfather, Marcus Jackson, recalled him saying, "Some people don't come back from their demons." 10 days before the attack, Elkins reposted a prayer on Facebook asking God to help him reject depression, anger, anxiety, and panic. The signs were there, every single one of them. And I need to pause here, because I want to be very clear about something. Depression is real. Mental health struggles are real. The pain of a broken marriage is real. I am not dismissing any of that. None of that is small. But none of that can ever justify what he did to those children. Those babies had nothing to do with his pain. They did not file for divorce. They did not hurt him. They were 3, 5, 6 years old, sleeping in their own home. And they paid with their lives for something that had absolutely nothing to do with them. There is no explanation in this world that makes this okay.
We did have a chance to talk to a daycare owner who says she knew the suspect and the children. Here's what she had to say about the suspect.
You could see in his eyes, nothing behind the eyes, dead behind the eyes, no soul, NPC, non-player character. He didn't have one.
Here is where this case gets even more disturbing, and where some very serious questions have to be asked. Shamar Elkins should not have had a gun. Not legally. In 2019, he was arrested after firing 5 rounds from a 9mm handgun near Caddo Middle Magnet School, while children were playing on the playground outside. He pleaded guilty, received 18 months of probation, and the second charge, carrying a firearm within 1,000 feet of a school, was dismissed as part of that deal. Shreveport police said that conviction likely made him a prohibited person under federal law, meaning he should have been legally barred from owning or purchasing any firearm. I want you to sit with that for a moment. The second charge was dismissed. He got probation, and years later, he had a gun in his hands, and 8 children are dead. The signs were all there, and still, he had access to a rifle. Now here is the twist that broke this case wide open. The ATF traced that rifle, and the trail led somewhere very specific. A Shreveport woman had originally purchased the gun. She told investigators she had given it to a man named Charles Ford, a 56-year-old convicted felon who was also legally barred from owning any firearm. When agents first questioned Ford, he denied ever having the rifle. Then he changed his story. He admitted the rifle had been kept under the seat of his vehicle and told investigators he believed that was how Elkins got access to it. On April 21, 2026, just 2 days after 8 children were killed, Charles Ford was federally arrested and charged with felon in possession of a firearm and making false statements to federal agents.
Charles Ford out of Shreveport is currently facing 15 years in prison for possession of the gun. He also had prior felony convictions, and he's also facing 5 years for making false statements. And you're probably saying now, how did we get here? Federal agents used what's called a firearms trace to track the gun. Now, they tracked it to the original purchaser, who was a woman, who said she got the gun from Charles Ford. And this is where things take a turn. Ford apparently originally told agents that he didn't have anything to do with the gun, did have it, did get it. He later admitted that the gun was actually hiding under a seat in his car. And he's assuming that Shamar Elkins took it from there. So, again, questions lead to answers, which leads to more questions.
U.S. Attorney Zachary Keller was direct. He said, holding people accountable does not stop with the person who pulled the trigger. It also includes those who give access to firearms that are later used in violent crime. 2 prohibited people, 1 rifle, 8 children dead. That is not just a personal failure. That is a system failure, and it cannot be glossed over.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Troy Brown. I lost my son, Markaydon Pugh, in the Shreveport 8. My son enjoyed playing outside, running around, playing football, going to the park. My son just enjoyed playing, being himself. The incident that happened here is a tragedy, but I gotta hold my head up and be strong for the remaining victims of my family. Regions, Bank is where we have the fund for you to be able to donate to the families. It's at Regions Bank. It's under Pugh, Elkins, and Snow. That is the account name. Pugh, Elkins, and Snow. PUGHELKINS-SNOW. That is the name of the account if you would like to donate anything to the family.
You know, United Cajun Neighbor, we're here for you. You've got my number, and if there's anything you need, you let me know. And we're going to pray for you. Hey, everybody out there, look, Troy and his family need your prayers. Big time.
Please,
right?
And thank you.
Right, that was your only son.
My only son, my only boy.
Let's do what we do as a team, guys, and let's show them some love. Let's show the family some love because they need it. They're going to need it for a while. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you all. Thank you.
My heart goes out to Shaneiqua, who survived but must now carry a loss that no human being should ever have to carry. To Troy Brown, who left that house laughing with Elkins and came home to a nightmare. To every single family member now left behind. Those children deserved better. That family deserved better. And honestly, we have to do better as a society. Rest in peace to all 8. You will not be forgotten.